The newest Assetto Corsa EVO update 0.6 is out, and there's a lot to like. Part of it is related to the content, part of it is related to some changes they actually made to the game, but of course, unfortunately, for those of us who are waiting for a career mode, it seems like they are continuing the same way that they did in 0.5. Before going there, a big thank you to all the viewers, members, and subscribers. I'm also trying to get 100,000 subscribers. It's really close. If you press like and subscribe, that will be the best way to help. Thank you so much. And also check channel sponsor Coach Dave Academy if you need setups for Assetto Corsa Competizione, iRacing, Le Mans Ultimate, and Gran Turismo data. As I say in the changelog, the update puts additional emphasis on the system that most directly shape what happens behind the wheel. With that, they changed the suspension modeling calculation, apparently to bring improvements to multi-link and strut suspensions and coilover directions. Apparently, they also improved performance, and for me, they also improved something really good, which is the user interface. We'll have a look in just a second. For the online, they are improving the contacts and collisions, and apparently now you can do some self-hosting. The cars are the Audi RS LMS GT4 EVO, the Ferrari 296 GT3, the Ferrari GTO, the Ford Mustang GT3, the Lamborghini Countach, and the Porsche GT3 Rennsport. This one isn't really a GT3 car, but you could consider this more like a GT type of drop for the content, because we do have one GT4 car, two GT3 cars, one that could be considered more or less depending on the BOP they put it, and then we have the track Sebring. The track is really good. I know I'm always banging with the user interface. I don't very much like the user interface on Assetto Corsa EVO, but it's getting somewhere. And I must say that I love the changes they did in this one. So if we go to the settings and in the controls, and this was the thing that completely triggered me, it's now corrected. Everything that I liked about the Assetto Corsa Competizione, because it was very straightforward, is now implemented here. You do not have to go to the control devices and try to do anything here. Everything is incredibly easy to do. You can change between your type of inputs, the steering wheel, the game pads, anything else. It's incredibly easy to use. You have a search bar. Incredible. The search bar doesn't search between all of these, but, you know, very good. And with that, everything is actually segmented correctly. This is a huge improvement, even though it feels like it's a small thing. For me, it's huge because it makes streamlining every input so well. Onto the driving. I think everybody wants to hear about the driving with these new cars, because for me this is a GT3 update because of all of the cars of GT cars, and I'm actually quite surprised with it. The combination of Sebring with whatever GT cars they released right now in this update actually goes really well. I like, once again, whatever Kunos does in terms of content, in terms of building content, in terms of representing tracks and cars. I think they do it as well, or if not better in some cases, than Polyphony Digital, and it's no different with Sebring. The representation of Sebring is really good. I do think though that some of the textures have a lot of contrast, but I think that's also related with their post-processing filter. These GT3 cars drive really happily. It's quite interesting to see the difference, the contrast between the GT3 cars present in Assetto Corsa Competizione and the cars that are present right now in Assetto Corsa EVO. I think the way that these cars drive, I feel that they make a little more sense to me. They don't feel as boatish as the Assetto Corsa Competizione did. I think a lot of it is related to these new physics suspensions. There are a few things that are interesting in the way that these cars accelerate and they brake. For example, in braking with the Ferrari, it's quite interesting. If you don't brake in totally a straight line, if you have just a little bit of angle, the car will try to yaw just a little bit. I'm not sure what is related, if it's physics, if the car drives like this. It's quite interesting. And also in the sections with deep curves, you cannot really dive into the deep curves like you can do in iRacing or Le Mans Ultimate, because you're gonna basically hit the bottom of the car in those curves. But these cars turn really happily. They have nimbleness into them. It does remind me a bit on how Le Mans Ultimate drives, but I think these ones feel a bit more active. The Ferrari, for example, feels incredibly snappy and agile. It really feels that it was tuned rather well and it was constructed rather well. It's a very, very fun car. It doesn't feel like a boat. And it's the same thing with the Mustang. The Mustang drives really interesting. It does drive like a big boat, but a nimble boat. It has mass into it. The car has a lot of torque, but also a lot of grip, and you need to be careful with the brakes. And one of the thing is that Mustang GT3 just sounds fantastic. Over the course of the year that we've been receiving updates for Assetto Corsa EVO, in the sound department, the cars feel very gutted. They don't feel good. They feel digital. And in the case of this update, specifically with all the cars, they all sound good, but the Mustang, I mean, it sounds intense. For the rest of the cars, they also drive very nicely. The Audi R8 drives really cool. It's a car that is a bit of a handful. It wants to go everywhere besides going straight, so be very careful, especially at Road Atlanta. The road cars also drive very, very nicely, especially the Lamborghini Countach. I thought it would be more of a slob, like it's available in the old Assetto Corsa, but this one, it's actually pretty much point and shoot. It does have a little bit of that vintage feel, but more on the Ferrari 288. That feels more vintage, especially on the brake, but this one feels actually that it's quite stable, and it feels like a car that some sort of mafia drug guy would drive around Miami trying to flee from the police. With this change of suspension, I was actually pleasantly surprised with the 4-seat back characteristics for a 0.6. It drives really rather well in my Podium DD, and with full force it does feel like there's a lot of information being given in the 4-seat back department. Of course, this won't be anything consensual because it's still a bit on the heavier side. From all the wheelbases that I've tried, it's really the Logitech that feels good, and also the Fanatec one. It will depend, of course, on your settings. If you want to pick up a Podium DD, the link will be in the description below. In terms of performance and AI, I didn't see any improvement in performance from this update to the other ones. The game runs for me exactly the same. It's not the best looking game out there. There are situations where it does look very good, but in other situations it just feels like there is something there, some sort of patina that I cannot remove, and for how it runs, well, it should look a little bit better in my opinion, and this update didn't do anything. And in terms of AI, even though they say they improved AI, in Sebring there are strange situations. I did a race against the AI using 18 cars or something, and some of the cars clipped between each other. So if you are thinking you're going to race against the AI, I guess your mileage may vary because it doesn't look that good. So where does this update leave Assetto Corsa EVO? I don't know. They don't share much. I wish I would know if what is the end target of this, because in one day it is a null sim racing thing, in another day it's basically a hot lap simulator, and they don't share much of what they're going to do. So your guess is as good as mine, so leave that guess in the comments. The way I see it is that they're trying to probably get some of the content available in Assetto Corsa Competizione and try to rehash it into Assetto Corsa EVO, but there's a lot of things competitively that made sense in Assetto Corsa Competizione that aren't available here. And there's a lot of things that weren't in Assetto Corsa Competizione. And if you look at, for example, Luma Ultimate, they aren't really here, and SimGrid is not integrated yet in this. That's part of it. There's no indication of how it's going to be a structure with driver changes. There's no indication of when the online will come for the free roam. There's no indication of anything, and you know, at this point, from where I'm standing, this is like a vibe sim racing type of sim racing title. So who knows where it goes? Tell me in the comments what you think about this update, if you enjoy it or not, what you think about the GT3s, and what you think about the state of Assetto Corsa EVO.